Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I'm Chris Witt, and with me, as always, is Mr. Adam Schmidt. How are you today, sir?
Doing pretty well. How are you?
If I was any better, I'd be you, dude.
Right
Now,
on.
Adam, not a lot of sports going on this week, bub.
No.
This is going to be a little different podcast for the Nosebleeds. Oh, what do you got?
So we were just talking. We talked last night and right before we started recording, and we mentioned last night that we were going to talk about the potential NBA season coming up and what was going on with that. And then we were just going over everything before we started. We failed to mention that. So maybe we'll have it. Maybe we won't.
Well, because we ended up picking a whole bunch of other random stuff to talk about today. So there is a little sports mixed in, but, we're going to have a little fun with it today. So to get it started, as Adam gets himself situated on the couch, if you're watching on YouTube, I love it because the closer I can get to that man's face, the better. So let's bring that computer on in as close as we can. Get yourself nice and comfortable. Sit in and tell us a little bit about training personally.
I'm glad you asked about that, Chris, because I've been dying to tell you that no matter your level of fitness, if you like to be challenged and you want the benefit of working with a personal trainer without the personal trainer cost, then training personally with Peggy Edwards is what you want to look into. Training personally is circuit training for all levels with a personal trainer at your pace on your time. Peggy Edwards, owner, operator, certified personal trainer, nutritionist, will keep your workouts safe, meaning everything is sanitized in the gym. You get to see that up front because you are part of that process. When you walk in, you get all of your equipment and you help sanitize that equipment so that you know it's being done right before your very eyes. You take it to a spot that will be a designated spot just for you that has been cleaned, and you will stay in that spot for the time being, even though this is normally circuit training and you go in a circuit. Peggy Edwards is very COVID friendly at training personally. So it's
by COVID friendly, I'm not talking about she is friends with COVID.
No, you will not. No, you will be safe from the COVID most likely because she does keep everything very, very clean.
No one is safe from the COVID.
Yes, she keeps workouts fresh, so she changes it up. You'll never do the same workout more than 2 times in a row if you go there. If you go there every day or every other day, you're only going to do the same workout maybe twice in a row. It's functional fitness. She changes it up because she knows she has studied how the body works and how it needs to get different types of workouts and work different muscle groups. It's very scientific, and she has all that stuff in her mind. I don't, so I'm not going to continue to try to explain it. And she keeps them fun. It's a really fun atmosphere. You and I have both been there plenty of times. Such a fun atmosphere. You walk in there, and it's like she makes you feel like you were best friends or siblings that haven't seen each other in a long time. She'll come up and give you a hug. Well, not right now. She won't give you a hug, but normally, and when we get back to normal times, she will give you a hug, but she will still make you feel like you belong there. You walk in and she will introduce you to the regulars that are there all the time and make sure everybody becomes friends. But there's no pressure. If you're an introvert like me, there's no pressure to be outgoing and make relationships with people right away. It's just a perfect place to go. If you want to give it a shot, you need to get a little workout going and try to get a routine going to work your body and get in shape. That's the place to go. All the information you need can be found on trainingpersonally.com or on Facebook at Training Personally. You can email Peggy Edwards, PEGGY at trainingpersonally.com, or she's so available, you can call or text her even. 513-328-0296. And give her a text, give her a call, or just stop in. It's 3634 Boudneau Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio. Look it up, stop by, and tell her that the Nosebleed Sports Podcast is how you found out about training personally. And if you tell her that, she will give you your first month of class or membership or whatever you want to call it, instances that you go to the gym to work out, whatever you end up doing, the first entire month for free. You won't pay a dime for your first month. And then you can just do that for a month. And if you decide you want to take a break for a while, or you're not so sure about it or whatever, that's totally okay. You don't have to go anymore. You get a free month no matter what. If you tell her that you heard about training personally from the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. So stop in or give her a call. Like I said, 513-328-0296.
Also brought to you by Green Solace. It's GREENE solace.com. Liz is an experienced professional massage therapist who provides you with a massage tailored to your needs, whether it's just to relax and unwind, or you need a focused massage on your problem area. Treatments include the relaxation massage, which provides you with a soothing and therapeutic escape from reality, while the focused massage is specific to your pain area, whether it's just your back or you have feet and leg pain. She's going to take care of it. Liz knows the body. She's taken all the classes. She's a professional masseuse. And you can go to greensolace.com. She's on the Facebook. You can go to her there. But, you go to greensolace.com and you're like, I kind of like what I see here. I think I want to schedule an appointment. You don't even have to call. You don't have to do nothing. Schedule the appointment right there. It's got dates, times. You click on when you want to go, and she'll take care of you. It's over in Cleves, Ohio. That's greensolace.com. for all your massage needs. I just made that part up at the end. I think I'm going to start using that.
Ooh,
I might sell that to her.
Right there.
I might sell that to her.
There you go.
Maybe not, because maybe she doesn't want to be all your massage needs.
Look, whatever, like you said, any type of massage you need, your problem area, or just a regular back, neck, shoulder massage. You were saying she can really fulfill all of those things, whatever you need. Great place to. now you're laughing about. Check out Green Solace. Go. We always say this. Go get your workout on at Training Personally, and then treat your body to a massage and take care of your body both ways. Look, what we know now that people didn't used to pay attention to or know as much about is how important rest is and recovery is to your body and keeping yourself healthy. And so that's a big part of recovery, and a big part of treating your body right is working it out, tearing those muscle tissues down, and then giving them the chance to build back up, and taking care of them through massage and drinking plenty of water and all that good stuff. So we take it all for you.
As we come to an end of the beach bodies section of the podcast, let's get on into some fun stuff. What do you say, bud?
I'm ready.
This past weekend was Halloween.
Great podcast, Theo Vaughn, by the way. This past weekend, Theo Vaughn's podcast.
Really?
Excellent.
Check that out. This past weekend. I like that. So this past weekend was Halloween. It was on a Saturday this year. Normally there'd be parties everywhere. Normally, the night wouldn't end until the wee dawn hours. However, with the Rona, not so much like that this year. I'm sure there were still some get-togethers. I'm sure there was still we still had plenty of kids come through. We did the COVID candy shoot. I had a little fun, dropped a piece of PVC pipe down through the back of the pumpkin's head and dropped the candy to the little kids. My question to you, Adam Schmidt, the man who has not come out of his house in the past 8 months. Adam Schmidt, did you hand out candy for Halloween?
I sure did not.
Now, Adam Schmidt, we all knew you didn't hand out candy for Halloween, because I don't think you hand out candy on Halloween ever, because you are a Scrooge of Halloween. That being said, you probably go to a family member's house. Did you do anything for Halloween, or did you hide in your bathroom with an iPod, or do they make iPods anymore? with
I
your
think I still have
iPhone.
one somewhere.
Oh, there you go. With your iPhone and just kind of play around on the TikTok or something.
Yeah. Yeah, follow me on TikTok. It's Muscle Man 38 at um, no, I actually did, believe it or not, go to my sister's house. Uh, and my brother and his whole family was there, his wife and two kids, and my sister and her husband and son were there, and then my dad was there. And and it wasn't too bad. It was they had, my sister lives in a nice little neighborhood, and there were some kids, definitely fewer than normal, but enough kids that came through. They passed out candy, and I'll tell you, my little niece, who's 5 years old, loves passing out candy way more than she loves trick or treating.
Oh yeah, that's a real thing. My son was that way. He would go trick or treating for about 20 minutes, come back, and then just hand out candy. Now he's a little older. I was forcing him. He came back about an hour and 15 minutes in, and I was like, no, bro, 45 more minutes. There's way more neighborhood. Get out there. Go get it done. You're 7 years old now, young man. It's time for you to learn how to really trick or treat.
Dad needs some candy for after you fall asleep. So
Yeah, daddy needs some candy is right. Give me the milk duds. What's your favorite Halloween candy?
mm, that's good. I would say Reese's, almost anything Reese's makes, but the peanut butter cup and the Kit Kat are probably my two favorite
Have you
candies.
have you had the Reese's peanut butter cup with the Reese's pieces inside of it?
I have.
Hands
I have.
down. Drop the mic. Drop the mic.
It's good, but let me tell you, there's another one that they have that I find very rare to find. You can usually find it in like just off the wall gas stations and stuff once in a while. You can't, they don't, Kroger doesn't have them. Big, I don't find them in very many places. It's the same concept. It's the Reese's peanut butter cup, but instead of Reese's pieces in it, it has bits of cookie in it.
Oh, I don't believe I've ever seen that. But is it cooked cookie or is it cookie dough?
It's cookie.
Oh, I'm okay with that. I still be good with that. I love the Reese's Pieces one. I'll tell you, is it me or no? You know what? I'm just going to put this as a fact. I'm going to put this as a fact. As good as the Reese cup is, all Reese's candy that is surrounded around a holiday, whether it be the Reese's egg or the Reese's pumpkin or any of that, or the Reese's tree for Christmas, 100% better than a regular Reese cup.
Hands down, I
Why is
feel
that?
like,
Is it because they're so fresh? Because they made them just for the season?
I don't think so, because I've been eating Reese's eggs for the last like 8 months. I don't know. Kroger has this enormous bin of them, and it's like over full every time I go. So they ordered way too much last Easter or something. But those bad boys are nice. They're
Nice,
so good.
nice.
I
Yeah,
totally agree with that, though. For some reason, those things are always better.
I don't know why. I have zero ideas on why that is. All right, so
There's
that
more
was. I
peanut butter.
don't know if you actually did something for Halloween. So I'm glad you got out of the house, man. Big round of applause for Adam Schmidt. Exited the house. Did a little Halloween action with the family. That's good to hear, buddy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We were safe about it and everything, and I was very glad to see you guys were really safe about it too, and that was really cool. Did you build that yourself? The contraption, the chute,
It's
because you
a
had a stand
it,
for it and everything.
Well, I did. I built a wood stand for it. Took me about 15 minutes. It wasn't. I mean, it's not like a piece of art.
Okay.
And then it was just a piece of 3-inch pipe, man. Just piece of 3-inch pipe with a 45 degree couple, not couple, 45 degree fitting on the end. Stuck it through the back of the head of the pumpkin. Had it come out the bottom. We're good to go.
That was
I
very
had
impressive.
more fun throwing candy down that thing at these kids than I ever have had fun before. And it did not take away from me having my conversation with every single little kid. You know, my favorite thing to say to little kids are when they come up at Halloween?
What's that?
Every Spider-Man, I say, holy cow, check out that Batman. I mix it up totally on purpose just so it's the only way kids won't talk to me. So I have to say what they are incorrect so I can get them to open their mouth and say something. No, Spider-Man. Oh, that's right, Spider-Man. That's the one with the spider on the front.
And then you make them feel good, like they taught a grown-up something, right?
Exactly.
That's a
Now, this is the other thing I do. I also do this. When the little older ones come by, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I don't care how old you are. I got no problem. I give candy to anybody that wants it. Better have a costume on. That's all I got to say. Kid came up in his elder high school uniform. He just had a pair of slacks on and an elder shirt. I said, what are you? He said, I'm an elder student. I said, how old are you? He said, 13. I said, you go to elder? He said, yeah. I said, get out of here. Go. Walk away. Walk away. Get out of my house. You did not try hard enough. Now, I did still throw him a piece of candy, but I didn't put it down the chute. He did not get to have candy down my chute. Not the COVID candy chute. Absolutely not. 2020.
No, that's too much fun. You're not allowed to have fun if you don't dress up for real.
No.
But you got to. He's a fellow Panther. I mean, if it was any other school and he just dressed up as a kid,
I don't care. I don't discriminate, brother. No, you got to give me a little bit of effort. You come walking up and you say I'm a teenager, and I say how old are you, and you say 12. Nope, you didn't try hard enough. You just put on clothes.
Yeah.
TikTokers. Somebody came by. I said they're TikTokers. I said which one? They said just any of them. Nope. I said do you have TikTok? They said yes.
Then.
No, that's what I said. I said, do you have TikTok? They said, yes. I said, you ain't dressing up.
Exactly.
You're yourself.
Totally.
Out of here.
What's the best? Do you remember what the best costume was that you saw?
Oh, Mom and Dad, He-Man and some she-woman thing.
She-Ra?
Sure. Yeah. Whatever the woman is on He-Man. Yeah, that was the best one. And this dude, I mean, they didn't look like either of them, but they went all out on everything. It was the biggest He-Man I ever seen in my life. But I asked him what kind of candy he likes. He told me. I threw one at him, and with sword in hand, 2-finger caught the candy in midair.
That might have been the real He-Man, actually.
That's what I said. I said that's a He-Man move right there.
If he would have caught it with the end of his sword, just like stuck his sword up and caught it onto the end of the sword,
and then slick
right off of that.
Yeah, I think the sword was made of like cardboard though, so probably. All right, so that's all I got on Halloween. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, the very last thing. So I don't know if have you seen this video? I know you're not a big internet social media guy, but you're on it once in a while. You may have seen, or there's actually a commercial now. There's a TikTok commercial where they show it. There's this guy, he's like a dad. He's like a middle-aged dad or something. And he did this video a month or two ago where he's just riding a skateboard down the street. And he has a whole container of Ocean Spray cranberry juice or something. And he's just holding the camera up to himself as he's riding a skateboard, holding a thing of Ocean Spray cranberry juice, drinking it, riding a skateboard, and singing to a Fleetwood Mac song. And it blew up. It's like the biggest thing on the internet. The guy became the coolest guy in the world overnight because of that.
Is this the same dude that ended up putting like a pumpkin on his head and doing the same thing again?
Oh, I think I saw that, but I didn't think it was the same guy. Maybe it was.
It reminds me of the same thing. So anyway, I just want to tell you this. As a middle-aged dad myself who loves to be a goofball, I feel like I could jump on this TikTok if I really wanted to.
Sure.
I feel like I can make something happen. Take my shirt off, put a Speedo on, get on TikTok, and just make everybody cringe.
Well, you got to check if Bert Kreischer's already on TikTok. Then they already have one of you on TikTok, and they don't need one.
I got out of the shower the other day. And I try to be quiet in the morning, so I bring all my clothes in there and I just put my drawers on and turn around and look in the mirror, and I was like, oh my God, I really am shaped like Bert Kreischer.
Well, I just meant that you have no problem being naked and being a fun, energetic guy with no
Yeah,
shirt
sure.
on.
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
Um, so anyway, that was the most creative, I guess, costume that I saw. But that's Halloween.
So I got another. Okay, so that's Halloween. So now I can go on to the next thing. So Adam, last week on the podcast, you threw a little bit of info out on there about you and your voting status,
Yeah.
and we got a whole lot of comments that were a little upset. So there was like 4,000 or 5,000 comments in there. It was all about Adam. You need to do your part. So my question is to you: from that day, from Wednesday to yesterday, Tuesday, for almost 6 days, did you make the decision to go out and do your part?
I did, except I didn't do the go out part. I did the
Well, of course not. We knew that.
I did the mail-in ballot, and I did fill one out, and I did turn.
Hold on. You live in the state of Ohio, so you did an absentee ballot.
Oh, okay, absentee ballot.
Just get it right, because that's big. Those words are very dangerous right now in this world that we live in, being the day after the election. Mail-in ballot and absentee ballot are big differences right now.
Are they? What is the difference?
I don't know. Apparently, there's some state that just mailed a ballot to every single registered voter, and without them asking for a ballot, just mailed them out. And now they're having all kinds of issues trying to figure out what's going on with that.
Oh, I think that's the way it should be. But anyway,
How do you? Never mind. We're not doing this right now. No. All right.
All right. So I spent. Here's the thing. I like I said last week. I don't even want to vote, because politics just gets under my skin so much, because it's, number one, it's boring. I don't understand a lot of it. And more than anything now is because I as I get older, I understand that there's it's important. But it's gotten so volatile and so tense between everybody about politics that it's turned me way more off than I even was before. So I didn't even want to vote because of the way everybody acts about it. But I did, and I spent my entire Sunday reading about every candidate on that ballot. All right, and we have, where we live, we had, so many. Of course, everybody votes for the president and whatever. You have a congressperson or whatever, and one or two other things, I guess. And then most of the other ones are local stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had a ton of those. So it took me a long time, but I spent almost 4 hours on the internet reading about each presidential candidate.
Good for you, bud. Way to go. Way to do your due diligence.
And I, at the end of that 4 hours, I thought, I will never get that 4 hours back, because I don't like any of these people. But I did make a choice. I just made the best choice I thought.
The biggest thing is, don't read about who the person is. Read about how their stance are on issues. That's the biggest part. Because if you read about who a person is, we all suck. Right. We all have skeletons. We all did some shady stuff. You got the Mr. Biden who likes to touch people very, as close to the waist as they can. And then you got the president who likes to touch people right in the. Well, I think we all know how that goes. So, yeah, it's not like we're all great people. So find the issue, find what you believe in, make your vote. It's all good.
Yeah, I think that who the person is, I think you do vote for who a person is. Now, it's very hard, and I think I think there should be personality and leadership skill stuff that I think should definitely factor into everybody's choices, but it's very hard to figure out who a person is now, because everybody just attacks the other people. It's not about, this is what, these are the list of qualities, or as you see me debate and do town halls and interview and stuff, it's not that I'm showing you who I am, and you see that and you vote for that. It's everybody attacks everybody else, and a lot of times probably makes stuff up about the other person. So you don't know what's true and what's not really. And so it's very hard to tell what kind of person each one of those people really are. It's really hard to
Exactly.
tell. So, but you have to just, try your best to do that. And then of course, like you said, take a look at, their answers to as many questions as you have. And I didn't use any of the news sites. I went straight to each person's personal website for their campaign and just read as much as I could on each one of those and just made the best decision I could. And then did the same thing for everybody I had to vote for.
Good for you.
In, I got up.
Well,
What's that?
I said, well done.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I got up extra early the next morning for the day before election day to make sure I got it in the mailbox by the post office, to make sure it got postmarked in time. I was a little nervous about whether I had enough postage on there because I had heard somebody talking about that. And then I had these stamps that I bought like a year and a half ago, and I wasn't sure how much they were worth. So I threw a couple of those bad boys on there. And then I was talking to you about that, and you said that should be good. And I thought that was probably okay. So
As long as you got 2 forever stamps on there, it'll make it.
bingo. That's what I have on there. So hopefully it'll be counted, and I didn't waste an entire Sunday and was up till like 1 a.m. looking at political stuff.
Yeah, good for you.
So
I went first year of my life I ever did absentee because I was out of town on Tuesday. Never done that before in my life. However, I'm the biggest procrastinator in the world. Therefore, I knew I would never mail it. So the day before the election, I went directly to the Hamilton County Board of Elections and dropped it off. Now, when I got there, I was very confused because there was a line around that building of 600 to 1,000 people, it felt like. So if you were going a day early so you didn't have to stand in line the day of, brother, you made a mistake.
should have gone 2 days early.
The ballot drop-off box had 0 people in line. I smoothed right on through, dropped it off, got her done, checked on. And the cool thing Ohio does now, which is nice, is you can look up your absentee ballot to see if it had been counted or not. So that night they had opened it up, they had okayed it to be counted, and then it was counted the next day on election day.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I'll probably never do that again because I really enjoy going to the voting booth. I'll probably design my out of town days around Tuesdays, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
That was going to be my question for you since it was so easy and you had, you could sit there and
no way. I will always for the rest of my life go in. I absolutely love going in. There's something fulfilling about walking in and, here's my ID, here's my face, here's my signature, here's my ballot, walk into your little booth and scribble down some boxes, and yeah, I enjoy that. I enjoy anything.
I only have one experience doing. Sorry, go ahead. What?
I enjoy anytime there's a whole bunch of people around.
Well, I'm glad you did the mail in or the absentee or whatever this year at least. And hopefully everything will be better next year and we'll be able to go there. And I'll probably, if I vote the next time, it'll probably be by absentee ballot again. But because I'm going to need that time, because I'll tell you what, this past weekend was the last time I'm probably going to spend a lot of time reading about politics until that time again. So,
there you go.
Anyway.
So there you go. We have no idea who the president's going to be at this moment in time.
Right.
Probably won't really know until December 1st, but who knows? Until then, that's probably the most, well, I take that back. I was going to say it's the most politics you'll get out of the Nosebleed Sports podcast, but every once in a while we slip into a little edge where it gets off the rails.
It's not going to be very often.
No, not going to be very often. All right, so before we get into NFL picks, Adam, I want you to get some sports breathed into this podcast. So if you would you tell me something good? The Reds broke records in the postseason, all bad records, most consecutive scoreless innings in a postseason. However, we got some good news the other day.
We did. They announced the Gold Glove Awards. Is it still the Rawlings Gold Glove Awards? Or is it?
Yeah, because when because the A2K, the Mizuno A2K, when Brandon Phillips had that and he won his gold glove, they put gold trim around his glove. And Rawling sued Mizuno for making Brandon Phillips that glove because they said that was off of a gold glove, and that's their gold glove award. So there you go.
You're right. I forgot about that. Good call. So you're right. It is the Rawlings Gold Glove Award still. And our guy, so we're from Cincinnati, and the Reds are our team, and Tucker Barnhart is our catcher. He is my second favorite player on this Reds team for the last 5 years or so, and he won the Gold Glove this year for National League catchers, and I am extremely excited. So I wanted to at least bring that up. So thank you for asking that. He led all major league catchers in defensive runs saved, which is a big advanced metric, if you want to call it that or whatever.
So real quick, I've got a question for you. I don't know how they figure out defensive runs saved, and I assume you don't either.
Correct.
Okay. So I can understand a outfielder because they bring into effect distance run and, the way, how much ground they cover to make catches and things like that. And I can see how they could figure out that. As a catcher, how do you think they figure out defensive runs saved? Like, what goes into that?
I mean, I would bet because as a catcher, you can still get errors. You have passed balls. You have runners that steal against you. The efficiency of how you throw runners out. And so I imagine it has got to do with a lot of that stuff.
Well, Barnhart's been phenomenal at that his entire career. So good for him. Tucker, it's his second Gold Glove, correct?
Second Gold Glove. He won one in 2017. He credits the coaching staff and these advanced metrics. This is all metrics that he has changed the way he catches over the last couple of years using that stuff. And he said that's helped him tremendously. He's a way better catcher now than he even was in 17 when he won his first Gold Glove.
There you go.
So very cool. And aside from him, there were two guys that I wanted to mention really quick that won Gold Gloves again this year. And I say again, very impressive. Nolan Arenado, third baseman from the Colorado Rockies, he has been in Major League Baseball for 8 years now. He has won a Gold Glove 8 consecutive years.
Nolan Arenado has been in the league for 8 years, and if something were to happen to him and end his career early, he would be a Hall of Famer.
Totally agree. Because not only is he the best defensive third baseman for the last 8 years,
he's the best offensive.
Yeah, he's the best offensive one too. Yep. He took right over for Adrian Beltre probably as his career was winding down, and Arenado is probably even better. So congratulations to Arenado.
Doesn't Arenado play in Colorado?
Yes.
Oh, so he probably took over for Tulowitzki then. Oh, no, Tulu was playing shortstop, wasn't he?
Oh, no, sorry. I just meant for best defensive and offensive third baseman in the game.
I was going to say, I don't think Beltre ever played for Colorado.
No. But aside from him, Alex Gordon is another guy. He won his eighth Gold Glove this year, and he retired at the end of the year. So he finished out his career with his 8th Gold Glove in left field, I believe it was. I think he was still playing left for them, right? So anyway, he won 4 consecutive. It seemed like he's won one every year for the last 8 or 9 years. But total, he has won 8 and then called it a career. He's 36 years old, which, as you and I both know, 36 years old is very, very old. So, but I just wanted to shout those two guys out because they've been great defensive players for a long time. There are a whole bunch of names that won Gold Gloves this year that I don't even know. They're the best defensive players at their positions in these leagues, and I've not heard of a couple of them.
That's just the year we're in. It's 2020, so I don't want to know who they are because they're never going to win another one again.
Yeah. So anyway, that was we just wanted to give a quick shout out to Tucker Barnhart, number 1.
Yep.
And then
Congrats,
the other 2 guys. Congratulations to everybody that won Gold Gloves. There's one quick thing that I want to get into before and we don't have to get into it deep or anything. It's just something that I made a choice to do something last night that I have not done. I've probably done, I would say maybe like 4 times in the last 15 years or so, at 20 years maybe, and the first time in probably 4 or 5 years. And that is eat McDonald's food.
Whoa. Wow.
McDonald's over the years.
Look, you can tell this boy ain't got no kids.
Yeah.
4 times in 20 years? Yeah, you don't have any kids.
No, I don't. And I worked at McDonald's as my first job. So I ate tons of McDonald's when I was 15 and 16 years old.
That's why.
And yes. And then I went a little bit after that, but for the most part in my adult life, I've not gone to McDonald's because it tastes delicious, but it's so bad for you, and it makes you feel so horrible. And I think they've changed a little bit some over time because they realized like people. And then there was that documentary, Super Size Me, yeah. Where the guy ate McDonald's for however many straight days, and his doctor was like, "You're gonna die if you don't stop doing this." So.
Right.
And then they've done the studies where the hamburger, they sit the hamburger for like 2 years and it doesn't grow mold or anything. And it's like, this is a radioactive hamburger that they're serving you. So,
so I want to say this. Let me say this before you continue on.
Yeah.
You just said McDonald's food is delicious. McDonald's lunch and dinner menu, their sandwiches, outside of the Big Mac sauce, which whatever sandwich, if we go to McDonald's for the kids, whatever sandwich I get, I just tell them to add Big Mac sauce to it because that's the only thing in the world that makes anything taste good at McDonald's. McDonald's breakfast, bar none, best breakfast of any fast food chain.
That's true. I haven't done breakfast there in a long time, but if I would go there frequently, it would be that. And that's the best part about my visit. So I got a double cheeseburger and fries. I don't know what came over me. I came out of practice and I needed to eat something, and I knew I didn't have anything at home. So I'm like, I got to eat something. And I'm kind of tired I do the same 4 or 5 things all the time. So I'm like, man, what am I going to do? So I started driving, and I just pulled into a McDonald's. I'm like, here we go. The thing that is probably going to make me go back there kind of frequently now is they've recently added, and I remember seeing this just a couple weeks ago and thought, I'm going to go there. And then I forgot until I got there and saw the menu. They brought back the cinnamon roll.
Yep.
They had a cinnamon roll when I worked there in the late 90s. And shortly after I left there, they discontinued it. It's been gone for a long time. They brought it back. I forgot. I ordered, okay, give me a double cheeseburger and fries. I just had a craving for McDonald's fries suddenly, so that's why I pulled in there. I'm like, got to get a burger or something too. Got those 2 things, saw the cinnamon roll, like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm like, all right, throw me in a cinnamon roll too. So I'm thinking this is going to be one of those deals. It's going to be an individually wrapped thing that they buy from some.
No, not when it comes to breakfast food at McDonald's, sir. Not McDonald's breakfast.
Let me tell you, and number one, I don't know if I'm pregnant or what, but I have had a craving for cinnamon rolls like you wouldn't believe. I've always loved cinnamon rolls, but lately, the last like month or 2, I'm like thinking about cinnamon rolls constantly. So I get this thing. I'm expecting not very good because that's what I've come to expect from McDonald's. Unless they're listening to this and they want to be a sponsor of the podcast, then it's the best food on the planet.
No, because we will only sponsor places we believe in. And unless McDonald's wants to absolutely sponsor their breakfast menu, I will do that. Outside of that, absolutely not.
I will do
their Big Mac sauce.
I will do any
get a McDouble with Big Mac sauce all day long.
Here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to order a cinnamon roll with Big Mac sauce next time I go.
Touchdown. Touchdown.
Thank you. I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ first of all. Without him, I wouldn't be here. And then, anyway, so the cinnamon roll blew my mind. It was so good and so over exceeded my expectations. I want to go get 3 cinnamon rolls every single morning from McDonald's right now. I'm glad. Not the food was good because I haven't had it in a long time, and it was just, it's a hamburger patty with cheese and ketchup and mustard on it, and so that tastes good. It's still low quality food, but the cinnamon roll put it over the top for me. I am a McDonald's new cinnamon roll fanatic.
Nice. Good for you, brother. I'm happy for you. Congratulations on getting back into the McDonald's breakfast world. I would never congratulate you for getting into the McDonald's world, but the McDonald's breakfast world, A+. And it's my favorite breakfast.
And here's the thing that's great about McDonald's is the cinnamon roll is one of the things that they are serving all day long.
One of the all-day breakfast, huh? Nice. Nice. So my favorite McDonald's breakfast, they have got a steak bagel. It's a sliver of steak, but it's not like compressed into an exact form. And I feel like we might have something kind of almost like real steak. Onions and this like yellow saucy stuff on it. Oh, sauteed onions, real sauteed onions on a crispy bagel. Dude, that is my go-to. It's my go-to. And then you can never go wrong with the burrito. The sausage burrito. Sausage burrito is always good. Okay. And then their biscuits, the sausage, egg and cheese biscuit.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. A lot of people like the thing that's got the syrup in the bun. What's that called?
The McGriddle maybe?
McGriddle. A lot of people like those. I'm not much on. I keep the sweet off of my breakfast meat. That's what I like to say. Keep the sweet off the breakfast meat. That's how I kind of go by that in an everyday life fashion.
All right.
I think listen. If I was doing this podcast, if this was the old days and we were in the dungeon doing this podcast, the Rum Dum Studios,
yep,
and I was the one in charge of putting this on the internet, this would be called "Keep the Sweet Off the Breakfast Meat."
Here, take a look at me writing that down in my notebook. Keep the sweet off. I'm going to say my breakfast meat.
That's way better.
Just to make it sound a little more gross.
Yeah, I'm totally down for that.
All right.
But, some people like when they'll get a, like I used to bring in, so for $1, you can get a sausage and cheese McMuffin.
Delicious.
Good, right? No egg, so it's only $1. Or like now I think it's like $1.10 or $1.15.
Inflation.
I know. I used to bring those into work all the time. I'd get, a dozen of them or something like that, bring them into work, everybody get them. And everybody's like, dude, are you ever going to bring us in jelly for this? Like, what? Oh, everybody put grape jam on that thing. And they acted like it was delicious. It might be delicious. However, I will never know. Why? Because I don't put the sweet on my breakfast meat.
I'll tell you, I do like some syrup or syrup, depending on what part of the country you're from, on some sausage. Like, it's usually, it's not that I pour it on my sausage, but if I get like a pancake or a French toast or a waffle and I also have sausage and I have a little bit of the syrup on my sausage, it's very delicious.
Yeah.
But I get it. Jelly's a little different to me though. It's like syrup is just sugar, but jelly has a flavor to it. So you're adding like grape or strawberry flavoring to your meat as well.
Right.
So to me, that's a little different. It's a little off the wall. I'm with you. I won't do that, but good for you if you do.
So congratulations. I'm happy to hear that you've come back to the real world and actually had McDonald's. So Adam, that's going to bring us into our next part of the show, which I gotta say something to you.
Okay.
Our final segment is always the comedy segment, right?
Mm-hmm.
I took a ton of notes on the comedy segment this week, like a page and a half of notes on the comedy segment we did, which was Tim Heidecker.
Right.
I left them in my car.
Okay.
So here's what's going to happen. We are going to go and we're going to do NFL picks. I'm going to run as fast as I can upstairs while you talk a little bit, talk out your NFL picks a little bit. I need you just slightly. I'm going to need about a minute and a half to 2 minutes to get up there, get in my car, get my notes out, and come right back down.
Don't wake anybody up.
No, I won't wake anybody up. So, NFL picks, Adam. This week you get to start.
Oh man, what an honor. I think you started the last couple weeks, I want to say. And I usually just plan to start because you are so good at this that you typically make your picks on the spot. I am not nearly as good at this as you are, so I have to at least look up what the lines are ahead of time and give it some thought, because that's what I am and who I am, and I'm way in my own head too much. So, having said that, I will start, and I will start with. Actually, I'm sorry. I will go back to. Nope, I will wait until you get back to say that, and we will go right into week 9. So I will start making my picks, and that will start with the Carolina Panthers at the Kansas City Chieftains. The Chiefs are an 11-point favorite at home against Carolina. The Chiefs blew out whoever they were. Holy smokes, that was really fast.
It's good. I'm gonna have to put it on mute because I'm gonna be breathing heavy for a minute. All right, keep going.
All right, Bert, catch your breath. All right.
I'm sweating like a somebody in church.
like the devil in church. All right, so I started with the Carolina Panthers visiting the Kansas City Chieftains. And
are you saying this for a second time?
Just this first one, yes.
Okay, good.
So the Chiefs are an 11-point favorite at home against the Panthers. I'm taking the Chiefs in that one. I am on my second one. I'm picking. Let's see. The Baltimore Ravens are visiting the Indianapolis Horses, and the Scary Birds are 2.5-point favorite over the Horses in Indianapolis. So I am taking the Baltimore Ravens to cover that. And I will take the third one. I will take the New England Patriots as a 7-point favorite visiting the dynamic, the spectacular New York Jets. New York Football Jets. I don't want to confuse anybody on which Jets team I'm talking about.
Yeah, unless they don't know New York, you got to make sure they know it's the New York Football Jets.
Right. Yeah.
So that's your
American football, because you have the whole soccer football thing.
Sure.
The New York American Football Jets. Sorry, what?
I was teaching my son the other day, and I said, Parker, in other countries they call this. He's playing a soccer game on his thing, and I said they call that football. Yeah. And he said, why do they call it that? I said, because you play with your foot. He goes, well, what about football? And I was like, not quite, my friend. Not quite. That's only here in your beautiful country.
Yeah.
Everywhere else in the whole entire world calls it American football because they play football.
Yes.
Sorry. That's okay. So what's the scores right now?
So I did wait on that for you to come back. So last week was week 8. I went 1-2. You went 2-1. So you picked up another game on me. The second week in a row you've done that. So you were within one game going into this next week now. So I'm 9-12 on the season. You're 8-13. So we're one game difference. You could go ahead of me this week.
I'm feeling super good about this week.
So you are up.
All right, first thing I'm going into Dallas, and I say that the Dallas Cowboys, I don't know if the Red Rifles playing again. I don't know who the ding dong for the Cowboys are going to be, but they're going to get their heads kicked in. The Steelers score 40 points. Dallas is lucky to score 10. That game's a 14-point. That's got a 14-point spread. I am taking the Steelers minus the 14 points. It's been a year of favorites, Adam, and I'm starting to get on the bandwagon. I've been super against for years. I love to take at least one or two home dogs. Not any longer, my friend. The COVID has changed the way I pick football games.
How about that?
That being said, the next game that I'm going to take is another double-digit spread. The Kansas City Chiefs lost one game a few weeks ago, and they are coming in and they're letting everybody know that they will not lose another game this year. They probably will, but they won't lose more than one, and that one game is not going to be against the Carolina Panthers. They will beat the Carolina Panthers by at least 18 points. The spread's 11, therefore another W for Chris. That being said, going into the final game of the night that I am going to be taking, this is something that I think might turn some heads. Drew Brees and the Saints have been struggling here lately. I am going to take an underdog because I still got a little bit of old Chris left down deep inside the soul. So I'm going to travel into Florida, into Tampa Bay, which really isn't Tampa Bay. It's really somewhere else close to Tampa Bay. But I am going to take Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints +5 against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just came downstairs and looked at that just randomly, turned my phone on, and picked them out of the hat. None of that was planned. I feel like I could be Boomer. I feel like I could do a fastest 2 minutes in football if I needed to.
I was actually explaining to the viewers/listeners that as you were upstairs that I typically would go first because to give you some time to look at it. But you are very good at this. You've done it. You do it every week, kind of like that, or almost every week, where you pick off the top of your head, and we're basically even. So you're picking off the top of your head. That's how much better you actually are at this than I am, because I am like, I'm deliberating over it. I'm looking ahead and thinking it through and all that kind of stuff. And you're like, that they're gonna win by this much, they're gonna win by this much, and they're gonna win by this much, and we're doing like about the same.
And am I even 500 for the year?
Well, we're both under 500, but we're
exactly
one game apart. So
yeah, exactly. All right, so that is going to bring us into the next section of the podcast, which is something we do every single week now. It's becoming one of my favorite parts of the podcast. It's the Mount Rushmore segment of the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. Adam, you were in charge of the comedy special. And if you're in charge of the comedy special for the week, that automatically puts you in charge of deciding what we are going to choose as for the Mount Rushmore segment of the podcast. You chose this week. You chose
the Mount Rushmore of comedians.
Mount Rushmore comedians, and we made a decision last night that we are not just going to do greatest comedians of all time by anybody else's vote, like we did with sandwiches. We just went with the most popular sandwiches ever. No, we decided this time that we were doing our favorite.
Yes.
Top 4 all-time favorite comedians.
Yeah, who we think are the best.
How you want to do this, man?
I think you should go first.
I have 14 people written down. I picked 4. I had 4. 4 was actually, I have 14 people. Yeah, 4 were easy for me. But then I just started going down and just writing a bunch of names down that I thought would be fun. And I started looking at some websites, and I was like, oh, you know what? Oh, man, I forgot about that. But my top 4 did not change.
Okay.
So in no particular order, my favorite 4 comedians: Dave Chappelle, Robin Williams, Richard Pryor, and number 4 was tough. I'm going to tell you it was tough because I had 3 guys I was looking at.
Tell me those 3 guys.
The 3 guys I looked at were Bernie Mac, Eddie Murphy, and Chris Rock.
Okay.
Of those 3 guys, I went with Chris Rock. Only for one joke, really, probably ever, and it's his Tussin joke, the Robitussin joke. It's probably my all-time favorite joke. And Chris Rock could keep you laughing at him in between his jokes. He keeps you laughing at him because of his voice. So you just know something's coming because you can hear the inflection in that weird little voice he's got. And it's just, I love Chris Rock. And I don't know that I've ever really talked about it on this podcast, but Chris Rock's one of, I put him on there. Robin Williams. You can go back to any Robin Williams stand-up comedy that he ever did from when he was like in his 20s and he was on cocaine till he was in his 50s and just and did one and maybe wasn't on cocaine but just had the same amount of craziness in him as he did then. The voices, everything unbelievable. Richard Pryor has to be on there for me just for what he did. Number one, super funny guy, absolutely funny. But what he did, as being one of the founding fathers to really break through, there's a lot of good black comedians, older black comedians, but what he did to push on that next generation of Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, Bernie Mac, those guys, to push that on to keep it going. Because he was really one of the one or two at that time when he was doing it that were really doing it. And then Dave Chappelle, just because that's my dude. Dave Chappelle cracks me the hell up.
Yeah.
And Chappelle Show was Seinfeld, favorite all time. What do you call that?
Sitcom.
Chappelle Show, second favorite all time TV show by far.
Nice.
Murphy Brown, close third.
Murphy Brown.
Candace Bergen. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a joke, by the way. In 5th grade, I had a birthday party, and there was like a 10-question Chris's favorite things for all the kids to answer, and only one kid got it right, and it was his favorite TV show, and Murphy Brown.
All right, good job, TJ Lucida. Way to guess that.
It was TJ Lucida. That's exactly right. Nice work. It was the reason I love Murphy Brown so much. I'll admit it now because when I was a kid, I never admitted I liked girls at all. But there was some skinny blonde TV anchor on there. It wasn't Candace Bergen or whatever her name is, who played Murphy Brown. It was the other girl on the show. I was in love.
Nice.
I was in love.
I remember the show and I remember seeing it a few times, but I feel like it came on after something else that I would watch when I was a kid that I probably shouldn't have been watching, I guess. But it came on after that, so I would see the first few minutes.
Cheers or something.
Yeah, something like that. But I would watch the first few minutes and then change it or whatever. So I guess I never got into Murphy Brown, but I do remember the show. Good.
I never understood the aspect of the painter and Murphy Brown. Like, I don't know if they were together. Dude was always at her house painting something in his paint clothes. But I don't know what that was a weird little dynamic now that I think about it. I'm not 100% sure what was going on. I think she was messing around with the help.
So I wonder if Murphy Brown is a show that you can find on one of those. I don't think it's on Netflix. I feel like I would have seen it on there by now. But something like that. I wonder if there's
Hulu or Apple TV or one of those guys.
Yeah.
Could be.
I wonder, because I that seems like something like if you're looking for something to do on the road or something like that, you throw on a few Murphy Brown episodes and binge watch that old boy.
I'm looking it up on the Hulu right now just to see if it's on there.
While you do that, you got to report back and let everybody know if it's on there, if it's on anywhere. I will get started with my Mount Rushmore. I, like you, so I think I counted 15 total that I wrote down. I probably left 3 or 4 off that I probably should have even added to this list. But, of course, I did narrow it down to 4. It was really hard because I feel like I can interchange probably any of these with a few other folks on this list. But the people who I did not put on Among them are Zach Galifianakis, who I don't have him on my Mount Rushmore for some reason, but I've been asked before who my favorite stand-up comedian is, and I've said several times probably Zach Galifianakis. So I don't know why I didn't put him on my Mount Rushmore.
That is crazy. I don't even have Zach Galifianakis down, but Zach Galifianakis is hilarious. So yeah,
He was he was just so funny. I've got Jim Gaffigan on there. I've got Chris Rock was one of the first ones I wrote down. Bill Cosby, Red Fox, Bill Burr, Mitch Hedberg. I've got all those guys on there, and then I wrote down like four people that I've heard a lot of comedians talk about being among the greatest of all time. But these are people that I haven't seen a lot of. And these are people that because I've heard so many comedians, especially lately, because I've been watching so much more comedy and interviews with comedians and stuff like that, that I want to go back and find video of these people, and it exists. I want to go back and listen to old albums or just find, YouTube videos or whatever, and really get into some of the older comedians from like way before our time. And among those, Bill Hicks, Lenny Bruce is one guy that
Lenny Bruce, I'm going to tell you, I've listened to some Lenny Bruce, and if you watch The Marvelous Miss Maisel, he's in there. There's a guy that plays him, and if you listen to the delivery in the old albums, and you listen to the delivery this guy has, it is really, really good, and it's really close. And it's, there's just he's probably the closest you're going to get to a comedian nowadays, because he would talk a little more raunchy, but it just wasn't as raunchy in the 40s and 50s that is.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got Joan Rivers and Don Rickles.
So Joan Rivers, I can tell you right now, Joan Rivers is hilarious.
Yeah.
She's on my list where she was one of the next couple that was like, I could put her on there instead of Chris Rock or Robin Williams and not feel like I did something wrong. Don Rickles, I'm not a fan of his comedy. He's
just an insult comic.
Yeah, he's an insult comic. And then you got the one-liner guy. What's his name? He was in Caddyshack.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Rodney Dangerfield, the one-liner guy known for stuff like that. But the Mitch Hedberg, that's a tough one, because there's never been a time that I'm flipping through and I see I hear something with Mitch Hedberg on it, and I don't just giggle. I don't giggle a little bit. Like,
he is definitely one of my favorites, and I tell people this every time he comes up. I saw him live.
You did, right?
Yeah, and it was just like maybe 3, 4, 5 months before he passed away.
I thought it was really close to when he died.
I want to say like 2005 or something like that. It was. It's been a long time now, but I got a chance to see him live when he was here in Cincinnati, and oh my gosh, just so funny. Sorry, I just thought of another guy that I would like to put on there, another guy that is unfortunately deceased at a pretty young age, and that's Patrice O'Neal.
Oh, yeah.
He was a guy I love too. So funny.
He had a funny delivery, he had a funny delivery for a big, giant black guy.
Yeah. He was not afraid.
He lost weight. Did he lose a bunch of weight before he died too?
If he did, it might have been bad weight. I don't know. He had diabetes, and I think that's how he died, because it was bad enough. So anyway, those are the people that I wrote down that did not make my top four. My top four then, and I did this kind of the same way. If you go back to one of the first ones we did, when we did pitchers, I think I did like 2 older guys and 2 kind of newer guys, at least from our age, or our lifetime. So I kind of did the same thing here, and it was Richard Pryor was one, George Carlin was the other one. He was the first one I wrote down. Like it was no brainer for me.
He's on almost everybody's Mount Rushmore. I'm just not. I think he's funny. He's just not that. For me, if I was doing a Mount Rushmore of greatest comics without putting my thought process into it, like maybe not greatest comics, but comics that I don't want to say change the way people do things, because nobody still does it like George Carlin did.
Yeah.
But just, to maybe that's it, to be that different kind of guy. Anyway, he would definitely be on it, but not one of my favorites. So
totally fine. George Carlin, Richard Pryor, and then my two kind of newer guys are Dave Chappelle and Louis C.K.
Louis C.K.
I know that Louis C.K. is not has gone out of favor with most people now.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's not a great comedian. I mean, if you listen to his stuff, it's good. So I had Louis C.K. written down on my list. Another couple more that I just want to throw out there.
Yeah, please.
Especially on the newer side of things. Kevin Hart.
Yes.
Kevin Hart is a really good comedian. He's selling out places that comedians would never dream of selling out. He's more of a character comedian than he is, just a comedian, but he's really good at his art. He's really good at it. A guy that's kind of weird, but I've been on the Sirius radio, right? I got the new truck, got the Sirius radio, so I've got like 8 comedy stations I just shuffle between. Norm McDonald. Can I tell you that Norm McDonald stand-up? I hated Norm. I hate my least favorite part of Saturday Night Live is the Weekend Update. It's terrible. I'm so bored while they're doing it. It's horrible. Norm Macdonald's stand-up comedy is hilarious.
Yeah.
He is funny as all get out. Adam Sandler.
Odd guy.
He is. Adam Sandler. Early Adam Sandler, where he would mix in his songs and do some goofy stuff like that. Adam Sandler, phenomenal. Who else did I have there? Old guys. Red Fox. We did a Red Fox special. It was okay. But Red Fox, obviously, one-liner plus raunchiest man you've ever met in your entire life.
Love Red Fox.
Steve Martin. His stand-up comedy is really good. Like, his banjo playing, I could take it or leave it, right? In his 70s or 80s. He just had a kid at like 72 or something like that a couple years ago. So, he's got to do what he's got to do. But his stand-up comedy was really good. And probably the most underrated comedian of all time, in my eyes, Bob Newhart.
Bob Newhart's good.
Bob Newhart, dry. He's a dry comedian. You have to think, because he's not going to give you his punchline with his voice going up and down. His voice stays the same. He tells the joke and he spits out the punchline, and it throws you off, and it's funny. Anyway, so you.
Oh, sorry. No,
nope.
I was just thinking about. So I think I said comedians, and I think you specified stand-up comedians, which was important because this was stand-up comedians. And I think there's a difference because there are people that are comedians because their career is comedy, but they're not stand-up comedians. Conan O'Brien is probably the first one that comes to mind because I'm a die-hard Conan O'Brien fan. He doesn't do stand-up comedy, but he's a comedian.
Right.
Martin Short is another guy that is maybe definitely one of the all-time funniest people to me. But I know him way more from doing other stuff. I think he did stand-up comedy, but most of his stuff was from like movies and
sure.
He's on talk shows and variety shows and stuff like that.
Mike Myers, right? You think of Mike Myers, the guy hilarious in comedies. Did he do stand-up comedy? Probably. Otherwise, he would have never been on SNL or any of that stuff, because that's kind of where they get their people from. But do you know any of it? No, because he stopped doing it and he does what he does now, which is movies. So, yeah, I totally agree. But I definitely I like the fact that you say stand-up comedians. It makes it easier. And I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a guy in front of a microphone making jokes.
That's right. And there are a lot of people in the industry that are either writers that you don't really see a whole lot or know much about that have done stand-up comedy that were probably really good. That's how John Mulaney, he was doing stand-up, but his first real job in comedy was writing at Saturday Night Live.
So many are that way. Many comedians that never made it onto Saturday Night Live, but Lorne found and said, that dude's writing for me. 100%.
Yeah, because they were doing stand-up comedy at, small places and in small rooms and stuff like that. So anyway, so many people. I feel like we could probably put 40 or 50 people on this list and talk about really good comedians. But anyway, that was fun for me. So would you like to choose now or wait till the end of the podcast to choose your Mount Rushmore for next week?
Let's do it now. Let's
Okay.
do it now.
What do you got for us?
Oh boy. I'm going to go Mount Rushmore colas.
Okay.
And I'm specifying the word cola because it's got to be carbonated. No alcohol involved. A carbonated cola.
All right.
And by cola, the Sprites are included in that. Any
soda.
Carbonated pop. Any soda. Right.
Pop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. If you're from the Midwest, pop, you know what we're talking about. If you're not from the Midwest, pop is soda.
Right.
And couch is sofa. Anyway,
think about that, but yes.
I think that's a regional thing too. I'm not sure.
Wash is wash, and crick is creek, and yeah, all that other good stuff. All right. That being said, Adam, speaking of funniest people of all time, it is time for us to talk about the top 5 funniest people alive. Or at least that's what he tells us in the stand-up in his most recent show that we watched. And it's Mr. Tim Heidecker.
Correct.
An Evening with Tim Heidecker.
An Evening with Tim Heidecker. This is a stand-up special that is a parody of a stand-up special. And that was the word I was trying to think of last week when I was telling you about it, and I couldn't think of the word for some reason, parody. But and I was hoping that you would get that when you saw it. I'm sure you did.
I didn't get it when I saw it.
At first, probably.
Because it was like no other stand-up. I've never seen stand-up comedy that way before in my life. So, okay. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to let you go first.
If you know anything about Tim Heidecker, if you've seen
I don't.
No, I'm just talking to anybody listening to this. If you've seen Tim Heidecker, anything he's done, his comedy is definitely not very mainstream. You don't see him on a lot of like mainstream stuff. He's been in cameos in movies. He was actually he was the guy marrying Maya Rudolph in Bridesmaids. But such a small part. I don't even know if he had a line. He was just there. But he's made little cameos here and there as he's gained a little bit of fame. But his actual comedy that he writes and puts together and stuff that he usually does with Eric Wareheim, his partner, is really, really, really different pretty much all the time. So this is no exception there. But he's never done a stand-up thing like this. So it was off the wall. It was, like you said, not a stand-up special like you've ever seen before, probably. And we have seen the Eric Andre special from this past year. It was even different than that, and just as strange, or maybe even more. Now, there were a lot of things that he did, and this was all on purpose. Okay, he was playing a character here.
Obviously.
Okay, that's what I meant. That's what I meant when I was saying it was a parody. So he came out and he pretended to fumble with a microphone for 20 minutes, and it was that part. The first minute was kind of funny, and then after that it got
the first time he fumbled it was funny, and then he picked it up, did it again. I was like, I gotcha. Okay, good work. Yep, overselling, a little funny. You did it on purpose. Okay. And then the next 15 minutes of him playing with the microphone. Anyway, okay. I'm just gonna read my notes when it's my turn. I'm gonna read them word for word.
Well, I don't want to. Okay, so I don't want to steal any of your thunder. So I'm just gonna say it was very different. There was some of it. He likes to play this. He's done this before in other stuff he's done, and he likes. It seems like he likes to play this like jerk character. where he's like this kind of like this arrogant, just jerky, cocky guy. And that gets to be too much. It's like too much of that stuff. Like, I get the idea. I think the idea is funny because it is like those people, you run into people like that in your life, and they're so despicable that they're kind of funny because it's like, oh my gosh, you can't be serious. You're not being a real person like this, right? And it's so outrageous, and you're like, this is just the worst kind of guy. And that's kind of funny because you're like, you just can't be like that. And he does that. Like, he kind of does. That's a big part of what he does. So that part I didn't love, when he was acting like he was mad or like he was above everybody else or something like that. But the stuff when he started doing jokes where he was just like fumbling over words and like trying like where he was just like the worst stand-up comedian ever on purpose, some of that was really funny to me. And where he was messing with the cards and he was like trying to like kept looking back at the cards and those weren't even helping him. He was still fumbling really bad. That when he was like playing word association with the people's name. Now that's kind of part of it that I was like, okay, that takes a little bit of, he was doing this parody and this character and being bad on purpose and actually having to do some of that improv style where he was asking these people's names and he was doing like word association with their names and doing it bad on purpose.
I know it was all on purpose. I get it. Okay. We all understand that everything he did was being bad on purpose. We understand that. The fact that you got to keep telling us that tells us how bad him being bad was. All right, go ahead.
But I'm just trying to, it wasn't bad because he was bad. He was doing that to be funny. He was doing that on purpose.
I understand what he was trying to do.
I know you do. Okay, so I just want to get to you so badly with your notes. I'm just gonna give him I give this a 2.9.
Well, in my head, I was just thinking, if he goes above a 3, I'm never doing this podcast again.
All right, 2.999 is what I'm going with.
All right. So I'm just going to read you the notes that I wrote down in order. This is in order as I wrote them down. Top five funniest people alive. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. The very first thing he says or something. The beginning is too much with the Mike malarkey. Please don't let the whole show be like the beginning.
Isn't Mike Malarkey a football coach?
Oh, yeah, it might be Mike Malarkey. Yeah, there you go. With Mike Malarkey. There you go. I hope that it's not yes. I hope that I don't have to watch Mike Malarkey try to do stand-up comedy the whole time, which is what he was trying to be, acting like he was. If I was watching a movie, I'd have been laughing. Calling names in the audience was horrible, but I realized it was meant to be horrible. Still horrible. That's what I wrote. Trying too hard to be bad that it's just bad. New Year's resolution, 5th to 6th grade teacher was okay. The 5th to 6th grade teacher, New Year's resolution, like he said, my New Year's resolution is to be a 6th grade teacher, I think, or something like that. Anyway, that was okay. He said, shut the F up for opera is what I want to say to you. Shut the F up right now. The Corona joke sucked. Best part, David and Daniela. No help from him.
Oh,
David, best comedian on the show.
That was brutal. Him forcing the guy to propose to his girlfriend.
I loved every bit of it, and David was into it, and he's kind of like, he was like, whatever. And David was better than he was at that, because there's no way he thought that was going to happen. He wanted to do his stupid, you say whatever your name is, and I just say a song that goes with it, and that's the end of it. No, nothing to it. That's all I'm going to do. And then this dude's got a girlfriend, and he makes him get engaged. And I actually thought David did a better job with that. Being stupid funny is great, but being stupid sucks. Oh my God, go to the damn movie already. I don't even remember what that was. I hate this special. Should be called An Evening in Hell.
With Tim Heidecker.
This Pepsi Coke joke better be good. ... Nope. What do I got here? Songs better be good. So much better. Stop the clappy was actually funny. Stop the clap. Oh, when he stopped the clapping, when he was singing his song, and he told the people to stop clapping because it was ruining his rhythm. That was really bad comedian, funny comedian to me. That was funny to me. He's like, "You're ruining my rhythm. Stop clapping." It's like he made him stop. That I laughed at when he was singing his songs. Huh. Let's see. Hot Piss was actually better than the comedy. The song Hot Piss was better than the comedy. And my very last thing I wrote down was, wow, he got paid for that. Now, that brings me back to the first page where I wrote what I gave him, and I'm obviously giving him the lowest score I've ever given anyone. No one will ever be lower than this score because we already said you can't go negative. He gets a 0.0. That was the worst, biggest waste of my life I've ever put myself through. I know what he was trying to do. I totally understand. He's a comedian pretending to be a bad comedian. That's the last. It was terrible.
Okay.
I know that it was all a joke. Everything he was doing was a joke. I just didn't laugh at any of it. None of it was funny though. But okay. I did say a couple good spots. I'll give him a 0.5. I'll give him a 0.5. So somebody can be worse than him. I did laugh at the Hot Piss song. I did laugh at David when he brought David up. And I did laugh when I smiled. I should not say I laughed. I smiled when he made those people stop clapping in the middle of one of his songs. I really enjoyed that. That was fun.
So let me tell you, you gave him a negative number here because we have established in the past that my scale goes from 0 to 5. Your scale goes from 1 to 5. You said 1 is the lowest you can ever give anybody. You gave him a 0.5. That's negative on your scale.
I'm sticking to my number.
Okay. I wrote down Chris 0.5. Right next to my Adam 2.999.
I'm sticking to my number. Well,
here's the thing. Okay,
I struggled to get through that.
I let you down. You called me 20 minutes into that thing. We'll just be transparent with everybody. Listen to this. You called me and you're like, please tell me this gets better, because if it doesn't, I'm not gonna waste my time. And I was like, I think it gets better, and then for you it didn't. So
no, it did. It did because the David and Daniello came up. He sang the Hot Piss song and he stopped the people. I thought
those were 3 parts that weren't funny at all to me. All right, so we have a lot.
Each their own. To each their own.
Yeah, I was gonna say we like a lot of the same comedy. Sometimes there are different styles that you just don't like the same as everybody else. It's not a right or wrong thing here. This is just our opinions. Okay, so you chose the colas or sodas for Mount Rushmore, and now you get the honor of saving our stand-up segment with something else for next week.
All right, so I have not logged into Netflix on my new phone yet since I got it. We'll find out. Oh, I do know Man, somehow I actually guessed the login correctly. And the only reason I know which one I'm doing,
Okay.
I just want to get on here so I know what it's called. How do I do this? Hold on a second.
And while you're looking at that, just to remind everybody, we will have an evening with Chris Witt in a couple of weeks after we find out whether Jacob deGrom has won the National League Cy Young Award or not. Because if he does not, Chris will do 60 full seconds of stand-up comedy on this very podcast. We'll call it sit-down comedy unless you want to stand up on camera. But I ask you to keep your shirt on if you're doing that because Bert Kreischer already does that. So you have to come up with a different thing. And you can't take your pants off either. See? Okay. You can take your hat off maybe if you want. No, anyway. And if Jacob deGrom does win, Chris will have 3 full minutes. That is 180 seconds of original stand-up comedy that he writes, he performs. I cannot wait. But in the meantime,
I've got an idea I've got a bunch of ideas written down, but earlier today during our podcast, you said something and it struck a nerve in me to figure out something to write down on for some kind of joke in this whole thing.
Okay.
So anyway, okay. So that being said, that yes, when is it the 11th, the 6th? When is that? When do they announce that?
Oh, so next Wednesday is the Cy Young Award winner. So it's the 8th. No, it's the 10th and 11th, I think. Hold on, I just wrote it down last week.
All right. So next week is the 11th is the podcast. So we will know during the podcast who won, which means I will be doing it on the 18th.
Correct. That is correct. That is correct.
How many times I throw my pencil down?
You already and by the way, thank you for using a pencil tonight. I did not hear that pencil click one time. I'm still I'm still taking off and putting back on my pen cap for sure.
Pen cap. Good for you. All right, so
we'll find out then. But before that, for next week, we will be watching
something that I saw on Netflix a few weeks ago. I don't know how long it's been there. I mentioned him in our greatest comedians, Mount Rushmore.
Ooh.
And I had no idea that he had even done any kind of special, or I'm not sure exactly what it is. It looks like a comedy special. Adam Sandler, 100% fresh. The look in Adam's eyes is disappointment. Number 1, you've seen it. Number 2, you didn't like it, right?
I mean, I don't want to ruin.
No, tell me right now because I can switch it. So tell me right now.
I don't want you to switch because if you haven't seen this, I want you to because number 1,
I'm going to watch it no matter what.
Number 1, I've seen it at least 5 times because I loved it.
Perfect. I was hoping you said that. All right, so we are doing Adam Sandler, 100% fresh. When did this come out? How did we not do this on the podcast?
It was I think it was last year. Or maybe
it hit right before we did this stuff then. So 2018. Ooh,
2 years.
Yeah, we were doing the podcast, but we weren't doing the comedy segment. All right, so I have not seen it yet.
I think I saw it the day it came out on Netflix. I was anticipating it. It was.
If I would have known about it, I definitely would have watched it. Adam Sandler is really close to being on there, but his things are more being on comedy movies. His comedy stand-up is good, but the movies he did when we were, in the mid to late 90s were were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore,
Billy Madison.
Billy Madison. There's three of them. What was the other one?
Big Daddy was really good. I don't know.
Big Daddy was a good one. He did a bunch of really good stuff.
Yeah.
And I still haven't seen Hubie Halloween. I'm sure it sucked, but
here's the thing. That looks like it would suck. I watched it. Way better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like Little Nicky or something like that, one of his bad ones. No, yeah. I mean, I thought this was way funnier than I expected.
Waterboy, terrific movie.
Which one?
Waterboy.
Waterboy, yes.
Phenomenal, where he plays that same kind of that he makes that face all the time now, and talks kind of goofy. Yeah. Anyway, so that being said, next week Mount Rushmore will be Pop, and then we've got Hubie Halloween. Or no, we don't. Adam Sandler, 100% fresh, and we will have more NFL or possibly talk about some college football. I don't know what we're going to do because there's no baseball, no basketball, although next week we'll definitely do some NBA talk on when the NBA is going to start. How about that?
Because it sounds like they're getting very close on an agreement.
Yeah. The NBA wants to try to start the week before Christmas, and they're worried obviously about the players and health and how much they had to play here late into a season they never would have normally played as late this late into the season. And then at the same time, the NBA can't afford to lose the amount of money that they lost last year. Right. So they've got to find a happy medium. And one thing that Adam Silver does well is works with the Players Association with the NBA, and I think we'll be fine. I think we'll have a happy medium. I think we'll have a Christmas start because I think the players understand what needs to happen for them to get paid. And that's when it comes down to it, man, it's a business and you got to be making money to spend money. I think the biggest part is going to be how the beginning of the season is played, because it's not like the Rona just left and the bubble worked, and every other sport has had an issue or two pop up. So how will it work? How will it go? It's going to be interesting. And next week we'll talk about it.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. That's a good setup, and we will leave it at that and get more in depth into that next week. And we've already got a pretty good slate scheduled for next week then.
All right. In that case, till next week, don't forget to turn your head.